They paid £45 for a picture. They got a bouncy castle and half a jelly bean. I want you to picture the exact moment a parent in Glasgow walked through a warehouse door expecting a chocolate wonderland, and instead found a few tables, some scattered sweets, and an Oompa Loompa who looked like she'd been informed of her wages 5 minutes earlier. That moment happened, repeatedly, to dozens of families, and I need you to understand that every single one of them had already seen the evidence with their own eyes before they bought the ticket. They just didn't believe it, because believing it would have meant admitting a website's pretty pictures had lied to their face. Last year, an outfit calling itself House of Illuminati advertises an unlicensed Willy's chocolate experience, Glasgow, £45 a head, promising a dreamlike candy wonderland straight out of the film. Promotional website is full of gorgeous, lush, entirely artificial intelligence-generated images. Chocolate rivers, candy gardens, enchanted forests. It is also, if you actually read it, rather than just look at the pictures, full of sentences that don't mean anything. A paradise of sweet teats catcacating, words that aren't words, sitting right next to the beautiful pictures in the same breath on the same page, for anyone who cared to notice. Nobody noticed, or rather plenty of people noticed and bought tickets anyway, because the pictures were doing all the convincing and the sentences weren't required reading. That's the first lesson, and it's not really about the organizers. It's about every one of us, and how thoroughly a nice image can switch off the part of the brain that reads. What they actually got, on the day, was an almost empty warehouse, a handful of tables, some sad, scattered candy props, a half-inflated bouncy castle, and, according to one furious parent, his children's entire chocolate experience consisted of one jelly bean and half a cup of lemonade, not a chocolate river in sight. Police were called to manage furious parents demanding refunds. The event was meant to run 2 days. It didn't make it through day 1. Here's the part I actually want you to sit with, because it's funnier and darker than a scam happened. Nobody involved needed to hack anything, deceive anyone technically, or do a single clever thing. They typed some prompts into an image generator, got back exactly the kind of glossy, emotionally persuasive nonsense these systems are extremely good at producing, and put it on a website. That's it. That's the entire technical sophistication of the operation. The rest of the work was done by human beings, looking at a picture of a candy paradise and deciding that must be real because it looked so convincing. There's a control for exactly this failure, and it isn't really about the organizers. It's about anyone downstream who takes artificial intelligence-generated material and hands it to the public as though it were a truthful description of something real. Annex A Control 8 Information for Interested Parties of Artificial Intelligence Systems. It covers what you owe the people who are about to rely on what your system produced, and a promotional website built entirely from generated images advertised as a literal preview of what customers were purchasing, with zero indication any of it was artificial intelligence-generated fantasy rather than photography, is that control failing in the most direct way imaginable. People buying tickets weren't stakeholders in some abstract governance sense. They were parents, spending real money on the strength of a picture nobody had told them wasn't real. And before you feel too superior watching this from wherever you are, you have almost certainly scrolled past a listing, a menu, a property photo, or an advert in the last month that was generated the exact same way, and you didn't check either. The only difference between you and the Glasgow parents is that your version hasn't gone wrong loudly enough yet for you to notice. So here's the dare. Next time a picture makes a promise, chocolate river, dream apartment, gourmet meal, stop for 10 seconds and ask the boring question nobody wants to ask at the exciting part. Is there any actual evidence this is real? Or am I about to buy a jelly bean and half a cup of lemonade?